Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 5th April 2017. The first article, My Way on the Highway. Here we will be discussing about judicial overreach. Before getting into the article, I want to make one statement about newspaper reading over here. Now, most of the students, they try to see this article from the purview of just the recent judgment. They try to understand what is polycentric problem is, how the Supreme Court has interpreted Article 21. In spite of you reading all these things, you will be able to produce only two sentences in the exam. So these two sentences have to be connected to our syllabus. So if I am in your place, I will be just studying what is judicial overreach and why is it not good, and how Supreme Court of India has to restrain itself for crossing the constitutional limits prescribed for it. I stop over here. Now, polycentric problems, just I try to understand the word, and also Article 21, what is the Supreme Court interpretation of this in this case, I just remember the things. So, with regard to this article, you know that recently Supreme Court has stated that there shall be no alcohol sales within 500 meters from national and state highways. And Supreme Court has definitely crossed its domain and entered into the policy domain of the executive. Why the Supreme Court shall not do this? The first thing is, it do not have necessary expertise, capabilities, supportive staff to involve into the policy matters. Supreme Court is not supposed to do a micromanagement. Generally, in our public life, problems are well connected with each other. If you disturb one link, it is going to disturb the entire chain. So, these kind of problems are called polycentric problems. So, the Supreme Court has no expertise to understand the impact of these polycentric problems and reactions which are going to come afterwards. So, better it is left to the executive because it involves negotiation, bargaining, and various arguments of the vested interests. So all these are being, the necessary machinery is being with the executive. And second thing is, our constitution is based on the premise of separation of powers. So executive is concerned with policy, action and formulation. Judiciary just with the interpretation of the laws. So in this context, if judiciary crosses its limits, there can be two possibilities. One, it will undermine the role of the other organs of the government, and so their legitimacy comes into question. And second is, the judiciary may become impractical with its decisions, and it may lose its own respect as it is giving the judgments on impractical lines. So, which is not good for the institutional building or institutional strengths in India. So, from this perspective, we have to argue. So, in this case, the Supreme Court, on what basis it has made the decisions? So, it has based itself on various evidences central government had from time to time linking alcohol consumption on the highways with increasing number of accidents. So, here the question is not about evidence exists or not, but who has to make the decision is the question. And second thing is, Supreme Court also has stated that it is doing its job to protect the right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution. And Article 21 is always liberally interpreted by the Supreme Court to cover every aspect of the life, clean environment, drinking water, health, everything. So Article 21, initially it was interpreted as like this in A.K. Gopalan case. So it is just to protect the life or liberty. It means the state shall not apply any restraint. Today Article 21 is interpreted in such a way that the state action to take away the life, state inaction which is leading to the loss of life, both of them are violation of Article 21 of the Constitution. So, the state inaction is also subjected to judicial scrutiny under Article 21 of the Constitution. So, this liberal interpretation can provide for a way towards judicial overreach. So, my take on this issue is, every organ of the government shall function within its constitutional limits. then the constitutional spirit can be well safeguarded. Now, the right to recall the legislators. So, Firoz Gandhi is writing some sensible articles these days, and I'm really in love with them. So, yesterday, one of the students posted a comment that why the quality of Hindu articles is decreasing. And I say that it is not just the quality of Hindu articles that is decreasing, it is the public debate which is coming down. The quality of public debate is getting surrounded with many of the nonsensical items rather than debate that is useful to the country. But today, after reading these two articles, I felt very happy about the things. Now, with regard to Firoz Gandhi's article, the right to recall, it means any like a chunk of the population in a constituency wants to remove their representative, the choice shall exist in the country. So, it means a sizable population of a particular constituency are dissatisfied with their own representative, they can call him back from the office. This is called right to recall. In India, right to election is there but not right to recall. So, as every citizen is given a right to vote, similarly, the person also shall have the right to recall when his representative is not performing as to his or her expectations. So, let me put it this way. Now, in a representative democracy, the representative has to represent the interests of the people. But there is a chance that the representative will be representing his own self-interest rather than the interests of the people. Then people has to remove him to protect their own interests. And second argument is the right to recall flows from the right to elect, right to vote of the people. And across the countries, if you take Canada, certain states in US, even in the local government acts in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh in India, the right to recall exists. And right to recall is also necessary not just from accountability perspective, but also from first past the post system evils perspective. What it means? In India, vote banks are very much typical. Everyone tries to nurture their own vote bank because if anyone gets 25 to 30% of the votes, they will get elected. So, these people try to serve only the interests of those sections that are voting him or her. So, the scenario in this case is this. A representative has to represent the entire constituency, not just the population who has voted him. So, if it has to be safeguarded, or this parochialism has to be safeguarded, the right to recall is necessary. What are the challenges against to this? Implementation of right to recall is very cumbersome. And obviously, vested interest will always tries to pull out the or tries to recall the elected member, and it leads to undue harassment for the honest members. And the third most important thing is the governments will always face instability. As its members are being recalled, the governments will lose the majority in the legislative houses. It is going to bring in instability in the government. Now, so this article, that is sting operations that sting in the tail. This article talks about the recent sting operation that has happened in Kerala, in which a minister has to finally resign. But later it was proved that the intentions of the journalist are itself wrong. It's a honey trap to the minister. So I'm not getting into these issues. So in public life, does the people have the right to privacy or not? So when this right to privacy has to be violated, how the balance has to be brought between right to privacy versus public interest is an eternal question in our constitutional debate. If you talk about Aadhaar, it is also a balance between right to privacy versus public interest. So, this can be a question itself. So, how the right to privacy and how the public interest has to be balanced in various issues. Now, again, I am stating a statement over here. India is still searching for the answers how to balance individual rights and collective interests. So, this search for the balance is eternally continuing. If you take about minority rights, versus certain religious rights. A right to life versus religious customs. All these are a fight between individual rights and collective interests of a community or a nation. It is an eternal debate in India. Now let's come to this Bangladesh and India relations. I think on April 7th, Ms. Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, is visiting India. So in this context, the Teesta River Water Sharing Agreement is going to be a central issue. So let us try to understand some background of this Teesta River water. You know that the problem has its origins during division of India itself. When India and East Pakistan are formed, the catchment areas of the Teesta, these are in India, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri and all these regions, Dinapur, all these regions. But the river Arals is flowing in Bangladesh. So the river starts in Sikkim, goes through North Bengal and then goes to Bangladesh. From there it merges with the Bay of Bengal. So this is what is the trajectory of the river. So there was an ad hoc arrangement which was reached, I think in 1983. According to this, 39% of the waters have to be shared, has to come to India. 36% of the water shall go to Bangladesh. Remaining 25% will be shared after the scientific studies. Now, 2011, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has agreed for equal sharing of the water after keeping 20% of the flow intact. Now, there are twin problems with the Teesta River. In the lean season, dry season, there is a water scarcity, and during the monsoon season, there are floods. So, how it has to be handled? And there is a lot of silting. And because of the building of various barrages, dams across it, and because of the problem of silting, the floods problem is getting deepened in the upper riparian states. So, in this context, the Teesta River is believed to be a political issue in Bangladesh. And in Bengal, Chief Minister is also opposing to it. Now, you know about the Article 253 of the Constitution. According to this, with regard to the international agreements, the center can go ahead and sign it. But however, it is not in the spirit of cooperative federalism. So, the Bengal is not interested in equal sharing of the river waters between India and Bangladesh with regard to Teesta River water. So, how this issue will be solved, we need to wait and see. And once this agreement is signed, what is suggested is river basin management. This river basin management has to come for 54 rivers that are flowing between India and Bangladesh. So that's why once the river basin management or else once the agreement is signed, river basin management can be taken forward. Now let's come to the news page. Syria gas attack. So with regard to Syria, it has happened in Idlib. So here, chemical weapons convention, according to this, no chemical weapons can be used against the citizens. Even in the war field, chemical weapons cannot be used. Now, Syrian regime has an history of using sarin gas, chlorine gas against its own citizens. In Idlib, it has used the chlorine gas. That is what is been claimed by the chemical weapons or else this organization for the prohibition of the chemical weapons. Try to study organization for the prohibition of chemical weapons, where is it located, etc. And then we have this Trump story, H1B visa, certain restraints are being imposed. Now the computer programmers are no more eligible for the H1B visa. But highly skilled personnel, they are still eligible for H1 visa, that's what the changes are. And coming to Sheikh Hasina visit, yes, she is going to come from 7th April. And during this visit, the three major issues are, so she is going to commemorate the 1971 war heroes, and a defense agreement may be in lineup, and Teesta River water agreement may come up during this particular visit. Youth are modern in outlook, conservative in their minds. It means there is a study conducted for Center for Social Reforms. So what this study says is, Center for Study of Developing Societies. What this study says is, in more Indians, especially young population, they are still conservative in their ideas related to religion, marriage, etc. So the modernity is coming in their outer look, not in the inner mind. That's what this article talks about. And I have given the notes to you on this. So try to go through these notes. As of now, we are posting these notes in laix.in/civilsprep. So as there are many inconveniences to the students, we are shifting to laix.in/testprep. And also you can take the magazine from this website, that is laix.in/testprep. And second thing is, whatever the questions which are being asked, they will be corrected to the students and will be given. So weekly 4 questions will be corrected, and individualized videos will be made to the students on their problems in writing. So that course is available on laix.in/testprep. You can buy that. So these individual videos will be made at least 1 week. I will be making that, and the second week, so the Sandeep sir may be making that. So laix.in/testprep. So this is where we are going to provide all our online programs or things in the future. And we are also using this deep learning, the machine learning techniques to find certain patterns in the UPSC preparation. And we have hired one guy from Telangana T-Hub. So he has got experience in this deep learning and he was working previously with the Google. So we can find some new things in civils preparation. Let's wait and see. Thank you very much. All the best.